Everything is my fault. How will I make it right? Before I came on here, the previous thoughts were the underground shit is way, way, way different because I do things daily and more consistently. And a lot of what people give a fuck about, I don't give a fuck about at all, you know? And that's like, it's too much to list once you go through life, because people only pay attention to like a handful of things, only so much of what they're conditioned to think what should be important, you know, based on just media shit, media blasting, and within that media blasting hit different, you know, symbolisms, different, you know, subconscious subliminal messages messages behind the screen within frequencies, symbols, or some type of visual that's kind of blurry. But a lot of what people give a fuck about, I don't give a fuck about. That takes training. You know, it takes a certain type of training. And for them to give a fuck about that, that has nothing to do with me. And for me to fucking say that, that's something else. That's golden, right? But also at the same time, it's my, everything is like, in a hard, energetic way, it is my fault, you know? Because anything I caused, anything my higher self caused, I'm just paying a different version of myself their karma, because it's an equal exchange between me and different versions of myself, because they're giving me the gift to be, right? I get a be, you know? I'm being something. And within that being, there's a karma that's being paid, not necessarily mental, but just metaphysical cause and effect. And those cause and effects, there's different cause and effects over time, millions of years, for the humans to even caught up to be with the humans, not being a biased on any of these Sumerian titles, because that will just confuse you, because all of them are multi-dimensional titles and they steal each other's titles. So there's no reason to get lost about any title. You should get your head out of the titles, become titleless, because once you're titleless, then you actually get to be and embody shit. But like, that's not to say that the titles aren't not beneficial. You know, there's just a time where the titles are not beneficial, but the titles could be beneficial, because you could just be referring to what you are and what you have made as far as the elements over time. Like fire's fire. See, that's like a pretty natural title, right? Water's water. But like, we're trying to recognize a certain type of ego that's saying, I'm this person, and that could be totally high. Just the title themselves, and they could have false psychology, and they could hijack titles, a different type of esoteric plagiarism. That's what's happening with, like, you know, a different channel from just the quote-unquote jinn, end quote. And the thing is, like even in my online stuff, my public stuff, I still point out like a handful of stuff. So it's about like, it's about us going through life and seeing why life is just standardly quote unquote testing us, end quote. But it's a matter of perception, because if we've already been through this similar test, shouldn't we have the intelligence to like overcome it, right? And master it? And I wish I could just pull up like the video I did last night and then the night before that, because if I could just hear my own shit, review my own shit, be like, okay, rather than me just like leaving the old content like in a fucking dusty closet, how about like we use the balanced digital innovation to help us do some correct shit, the most correct shit, as a matter of fact. So that's just like, it's one of those things that there's just a critical difference, because what would most correct imply? It would be most authentic, which there's a big absence of that. And excuse my left-handed right hemisphere thinking, because you know, if everything is backwards here on the spiritual world, it takes someone from the spiritual world to be non-backwards, and that non-backwards goes into the backwards, and it's perceived as backwards, but it's really equalizing the backwardsness. So obviously, like, people have that technology, so it's my fault, you know. I'm like reaping a certain effect from a certain cause. I have to build up certain shit, and now as I'm building up certain shit, there'll be a time where I have the technology where I could have, like, you know, similar apps like Discord, and then StreamYard, and then, you know, StreamYard being a replacement for Zoom, right? So and then Discord StreamYard, and then, you know, Sybil, right? And then just like other, and then like, you know, my own like video library. And then within that video library, I gotta include the music I get to include that I made, and just like being able to like go back and actually get a most fairful monetization, not just saying it, but actually executing the most fairful shit, because HD will lean and point to that, but that's only a 50-50 dynamic, because energetically there's an energetic not self that falls out of sync with the divine order, and that's the divine chaos, and within that, that's being the energy is being exploited, not good, not bad, just to see how that chaos is being utilized, obviously. And then that could be like, you know, quote unquote getting the best of other things, right, end quote. And that's not good, that's not bad, that's just one out of two energy channels, like the divine order, the divine, and then the divine chaos, and then the casual like in between, right, obviously. And within that, in a different channel, human design, energetically speaking, it could point to us on how to recognize that chaos, the conditioned self, and it could point us to how to recognize some type of secret order, right? Secret energetic harmonic order. And within that order, if we recondition ourselves with different truths, we could eventually look at things a different way. And as we're looking at things a different way, we could realize somewhere along our spiritual self, everything I ever done, no matter how much my human wants to complain, it's some inkling of my own fault and responsibility, because energetically I did some type of like causing where it made a similar equal reaction respond to me, that being an effect based on some type of meta psychological cause from me. So like when I'm saying everything is my fault, I'm just saying like like somewhere along the line I caused it, and I might have forgot that I caused it. So anything that like pretty much, here's the point, any situation that I'm in, simultaneously it is your feelings and it's not your feelings, because we're sharing a new field of the moment, right? And since we're sharing a new field of the moment, everything that's coming to us, feelings and thoughts, they could be somehow fucking slightly like slickly amplified, and you just entertaining it for a time being, because all of us are receptive beings like that, you know? So since all of us are receptive beings, we don't necessarily know why we think what we think, or why we feel what we feel, or why we think we know something, which is only a partial truth to what else is actually going on. Because wow, whoa. So within and I don't know if I'm gonna do this one private or public. I really don't care. The main point of this video was to see like how I'm trying to take responsibility for something that is, you know, and I don't have to let other people's shit get the best of me. And if it gets the best of them, that's up to me having my own boundaries, particular boundaries. Like I'm not like, you know, there has to be a line that's drawn, like you can't let everybody in. And I'm just saying it standardly. And since that is a thing, people don't know you have that boundary. So they're presupposing all of their mind jargon and emotional jargon, and they're trying to attempt to project it on you if you don't have metaphysical boundaries, spiritual boundaries, mental boundaries, yada yada. So within all of that, like a lot of what people like give a fuck about, I really don't give a fuck about it. And if you do, that's cool. I'm still trying not to judge you, but if you do, then like all you could really quote unquote hope for, end quote, is some type of example to help you shift and change out of whatever the fuck that you're feeling. Envy, it could be transformed regardless of how much you felt, respectively. We're all human, it's all good. But there's things, and like sadness, all of that could be transformed. Anger could be transformed. You know, depression could be transformed. Depressing, just like energetically, you've been closed off from like pure energies. That's pretty much depression from you know, that metaphysical point of view or whatever. So that's really all I wanted to say. I just wanted to come on to say, like, I do stuff consistently on the offline base, and shout out to everybody really like going forward, not just like some type of synthesis, but some type of real balance within whatever that you're ultimately claiming. And real balance is, I go all in with that. So there's critical differences between me and, you know, other things and beings. And I say it like that because I get to remind myself of what boundaries I could have in there to just, like, you know, protect that, spiritually speaking, you know. So the main reason of this video was to just to touch base again and say just to touch base and say, like, the divine order, it's like on an energetic level, it's only a percentage that you will get to there, you know. But to get to there, what if somehow the quote-unquote universe, end quote, is particularly fucking asking you to give the universe everything that you've got, because your life depends on it, on just a different standard channel of it. And I'm not trying to fear monger anybody, I'm just trying to speak a hard fucking reality of life. And somehow something higher than us has our back, somehow, that divine order. And it's up to us, the new collective human populace, whoever the fuck is on the planet of Earth at this modern day and time, and there's 9 billion people on the planet, quote unquote. It's up to the, end quote, it's up to the 9 billion people to possibly lean towards some type of secret harmonic order, so we could actually, like, just equalize corrupt shit that could be detrimental to the people in just the general matrix game that's leaning towards some type of chaos and order simultaneously, but we don't know it. So what do we have to do to get towards the order? I'm not saying, this is a disclaimer, I'm just saying, this is me talking to me. Do I have to surrender it all to some type of higher original God so I can make it to that fucking shit and actually spare myself from whatever, like, you know, the predecessors are type of saying within these two different possible timeline fields? So this is some real serious shit, regardless of anybody's, like, you know, projection they put onto me. And within that projection they put onto me, that's not a reality, you know, that's not even actuality. It's just a figment of some type of imagination that we don't even necessarily knew got born from energetic falsehood and corruption. And still not good, not bad, just seeing the different energies. There's one more point I wanted to squeeze out about, like, the divine order. So, like, causing and affecting things, to have non-detrimental results, you would have to, like, by default go to some type of channel of divine order, right? So the channel of divine order, the main point here is that particular insight, that's what's needed. It's vital. It's a super need. It's an original need. It's a metaphysical need. It's an esoteric need. So within that need, like the baby needs the fucking mother's breast milk to grow strong, we need some type of truth to grow, fucking to live and survive, motherfuckers. But we don't have to say it's a need, depending on the type of being that we are, because that's a specimen biased, right? Not all specimens need what other specimens need, or do they? We still we still operate within fields of sunlight and darkness. We still operate within fields of cold and warmth. We still operate and have to adapt between dry circumstances and wet circumstances, esoterically and maybe not esoterically, maybe literally. You know, if you want to just go and galley up there and tander up there and ballish up there and shlalish up there and dallish up there and diggity delicacy-lize up there. He be up there. And I don't give a flip how I look. And that's another thing. It's like, one more point I wanted to make was, our subconscious did what it did for a reason. You know, like literally, and it felt it. It knew what it was doing. It knew what lies it's telling, because the subconscious is our true self. It's our higher self's dark self. And within that higher self, dark self, that subconscious connects to God's subconsciousness. And God's subconsciousness is all of this chaos shit, because all is self, right, my brothers and sisters? Regardless of the fucking creed or race, just trying to find some type of, you know, commonality for some future collateral of what could we do to prevent some shit, if that's even fucking possible. So the need for divine order, I can call it that. And I'm just doing this because I got that download, all is self, like, you know, 8 years back plus, respectively. So within me getting that download, there was a natural inclination to want to serve humanity, not because I know there's egotistical shit and other people have Stockholm Syndrome. No, because if I serve humanity, then in a different future of the universe, it will serve me, energetically speaking, because it's a yin and yang relationship. So, but 3D, it's still entertaining, you know, dark chaos and you know, divine order. So it's like, so people would like gravitate what they gravitate based on soul contracts, soul karmas, because whatever the fuck happens, should we really give a fuck if God is really in control of all it, supposedly, right? So they say, right? Because maybe God's not in control. Maybe he just fucking let this shit run, and maybe later he'll have control, because we have to ask, does God have control? You know, a lot like, and me doing this, ironically, in a bigger picture level, I'm the one foundationalizing and even birthing on a deep esoteric level the essence of boundaries themselves, because the boundaries, it's a thing that's being created frequentially, you know, deep, spiritually, mentally, and within that multi-frequentially. So within all of that shit, like, this is the essence of boundaries, because for something to even be a thing, it has to be like curated with a thought, some type of soul energy, some type of, you know, object matter, earth, and some type of, you know, feminine sentient, you know, in between being, water, fire, some soul energy, wind, some type of thought. And within that gets crafted to be a thing, an ether thing. Wow. So the original EtherThings and the essence of boundary and needs, and I don't mean to be all glamorous and fabadocious with it, but there is such a thing as an essence, and the essence is something that represents and embodies something of a more whole energy of source, something over time, and that's the planet Earth, just the domain of Earth, and the Earth is the field and the stage to entertain chaos and order, obviously, and dark and light and all that stuff. And from that comes unique truth and unique falsehood, and there's the game right there of the Matrix, because the predecessors have made me who I am. I just want to like energetically say that shit, because obviously, like, people are gonna underestimate. That's their shit, you know? That's their own shit. So what would the title of this video be? The ether things. And, like, you know, the need for need, maybe. And how a boundary comes to be originated is somewhere it had to be. It didn't necessarily come from a thought, but it was affiliated and it by offspringalized a stream of thoughts by the consciousness that inhabits the object from a certain thought field, inanimate to animate objects, source energy, that's God. God is in everything. And then, you know, the daughter of God, the water of the fire, because God is like some type of original fire, the original goddess is the original water, and that's the original matrix. And from that shit, 8 years underground, quality beyond like pretty much everything respectively. And obviously that, you know, may we find the absolute accuracy to like see if that's even a thing somewhere in a different accurate time date that's appropriate for a higher universal balance, whatever. The ether things, the essence of need and boundaries. A boundary comes to be by something else, a higher cosmic intelligence preserving that in a way where it's its own fire, water, air, and earth. And as it's its own stuff, there's that higher power is preserving stuff amidst the chaos on the 3D. And as we ascend the dimensions, the chaos respectively lessens. But upon that whole time shift that we have to travel to, quote unquote, said other dimensions throughout time, end quote, within the lessening, there's a lesson. It's in the etymology. Etymology is so powerful. Words are carrying a code. Words are carrying a secret clue. Words are carrying a fucking secret meaning. Within the lessening, there's a lesson. So we're always gonna, no one's exempt from the lessons. We're all, no matter what, there's gonna be quote unquote chaotic lessons and non-chaotic lessons. And the only way you get out of the chaotic lessons is source, wholeness, God. And within, and I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm saying that I'm speaking energetically. And that's the thing, when we release the titles, then ironically we could be more of something without the mind. But the mind will always be there, but it's up to the soul and the water body to fucking help the mental body. So the mental, you know, surface level curated mental ego of the physical, new physical carrier, you have to like kind of protect that. You have to protect yourself. Everybody has to protect themselves. This is like people don't necessarily know this, you know? Whee! So I quote unquote titled this video "The Essence of Boundaries and Needs," end quote, because I'm trying to clue on some type of intelligence that even makes it a thing. What's making a boundary is it's being spontaneously thought of what self is of self, because God is everything. God is the whole universe. So God, like, I don't even think God judges, because he's seeing everything that's coming out of him, you know? And I'm just trying to understand with, like, you know, because obviously I'm downloading this from like the predecessors, right? The predecessors, like, from my knowledge, one powerful download I got was all is self. So upon contemplating that for a really long time, it leads to all this stuff, and who knows how long this has been going on, you know? But the critical dire thing, no fear mongering here, is it's like, it seems like it's like quote unquote up or down, end quote. And for me to simplify it like that, and to try to, for me, investigate on how I could balance this shit, that's for me to me. And if someone else gets inspired, good for you. I'm like surrendering to, like, you know, the original universe, but like I still understand the chaos that's going on the planet, you know, and I'm still not like judging that, because that's what 3D is, you know. That's where God put us, or that's where we quote unquote went away from God for a very unique reason. You're here for a unique reason. You're expressing, you know, what you are as an original soul. And we don't know the mechanics that has, like, you know, combined to for us to be where we're at and how we are in this moment. Because how you are and what you are in this moment, you could be totally oblivious by what caused you to be here right now, you know. So I'm gonna kind of conclude this video, kind of, because I like the main point I wanted to say was you know, it's all in the practice, you know, it's all in some type of practice, you know. It takes a lot to, like, kind of filter out someone else's agendas, their you know their esoteric motives, and what they think and feel from that by its own effect and cause, and how they're choosing to feed that however they do. But still there's a trend of transformation, or there's a strand of transformation or whatever. And within that, yeah, it's like it's you can only like really like keep choosing a deeper balance is what I'm saying. Thank you. You have a good life. I'll come back with the part 2. Probably won't release part 2. Thank you.